All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to week number 6 in the NFL. We got Thursday night football, Giants taking on the Eagles. In this video, I'm going to dive into this game. I'll break it down. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about a few player prop spots that we like within this game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That's where you'll find all of my final plays, so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest, if you do want to fade me, all of that absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. Now, before we talk about week number 6 in this matchup, let's talk about week number 5 and recap it. Big ol' highlight. Let's pump in some crowd noise. Drop the cha-ching. Go crazy on the soundboard for an 11-2 Sunday. Thursday night football, we go 1-2. Monday night, we go 3-3. Those are kind of moot points. An 11-2 Sunday slate, guys. Smash that like button if you jumped on board with any of those plays. Hit that subscribe button if you are new. Make sure to go ahead and let me know your favorite plays down in the comments as well. I love seeing what you guys are rolling with. And honestly, it's not just for me. Like I tell you guys all the time, right? You're probably helping out a bunch of other people that are looking for additional plays in this game as well. So let me know your favorite plays for this Thursday night football matchup down below in the comments. But what do you say we go ahead and dive into it? We got the Giants coming in at 1-4. We all know their one win of the season was that crazy one. Jackson Dart's first start against the Chargers. No one really saw it coming. Eagles coming off of their first loss of the year, right? They lose to Denver 21-17. They still have a 4-1 record, though. I want to give credit where it's due because they've played the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Rams, the Bucks, and Denver. Really tough strength of schedule to start the year, and they've still managed to pull out a really, really good record at 4-1. Now, in this spot, we have the Giants sitting at 7.5-point dogs. That totals at 41.5. Let's talk about the Giants' offense against this Eagles defense. Then we'll flip it. We'll look at the Eagles' offense against the Giants' defense. I'll give you my spread lean, my total lean, and then we'll close out talking some player prop towards the end of the video. Let's go ahead and do that. So Jackson Dart and this Giants' offense is going to be seeing a ton of man-to-man defense from the Eagles. Eagles, through 5 weeks, playing the 6th most man in terms of frequency there. And I do think that that's going to be a little bit of a sticky, uncomfortable situation for Jackson Dart. His completion percentage against man, and again, everything we talk about with him, maybe we take with a little bit of grain of salt. Maybe, we don't take it as the gospel truth because he's got such a small sample size to look at. But nonetheless, against man, his completion percentage does drop to 57.1, 4.9 yards per attempt as well. So not exactly the best situation for him. The biggest thing to note, though, is probably the pressure that he'll see, right? This Eagles team does a decent enough job to get to the quarterback, 4th in time to pressure, 13th in pressure rate, 14th in blitz rate. Are they the craziest team at getting to the quarterback? No, but should be good enough to give Jackson Dart potentially some problems here. And when he does face pressure, and again, you're going to hear me say this a lot. It's going to sound like a broken record. Small sample size, but so far through his 2 games, 10% completion percentage when pressured. Big yikes, a negative 167.5% DVOA when pressured. Again, very small sample size, but if this Eagles team is able to get you Jackson Dart and they're playing man defense, I don't think it's the best of situations for the young rookie, right? Hey, real quick, guys, taking a break from the action, I want to talk to you about Chalkboard. They have a Jalen Hurts free square, 0.5 passing yards for this Thursday night football game for new users. You also get a free $20 upon sign up. I've been bragging about how amazing this deal is, and I don't know how long they are going to offer, but right now you can still just sign up, no deposit necessary, and get a free $20 from Chalkboard. So go ahead and check it out, guys. You'll get this Jalen Hurts free square as well as that $20, and you'll also get a deposit match when depositing. I would highly recommend depositing because Chalkboard's awesome. Tons of promos, tons of deals. You can even do game picks in there now. Taking a team to win, taking a team against the spread, taking the total. Really good stuff, guys. Check it out. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. You can also sign up using code GUYBOSTON. Again, link down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Let's get back to the game breakdown now. In terms of the run game, now, the Giants maybe getting Tyrone Tracy back, maybe that's something to consider, but I still do think it's Scadaboo's backfield at this point, right? The fans love him, the team seems to love him, and he does look, all things considered, like a pretty good running back, especially given the fact that who he's running behind and everything like that. But this is a Giants team that still struggled on the ground, right? 4.1 yards per carry, that's 20th in the league, 25th in DVOA on the ground as well. Now, the Eagles are allowing the 8th most yards per carry to their opponents, 4.7. So that's even a little bit better than what the Giants are averaging. And this Giants team runs a lot of inside zone in terms of their running schemes offensively, 7th in terms of frequency in league rankings, right? Well, that might be okay to some degree to move the ball a little bit. Philly ranked 18th in yards per carry against the inside zone, but they do have the 5th best EPA per attempt. So that is something that kind of stuck out to me. But overall, DVOA, success rate, everything like that, kind of just middle of the pack. So a little bbit maybe of a soft spot on this Eagles defense that this Giants team may be able to naturally kind of fill the void in. They also allow the 7th most explosive plays from the inside zone, So maybe we do see some ground game success from this Giants squad. Now, the biggest thing to note here is we do have a 7.5 point, spread on our hands. If the Eagles are doing what the books and what I guess the public thinks they're going to do, win this game, maybe win it handily, we might not see the ground game be in total full force for this Giants squad. So if we're thinking about them moving the ball, or we're looking at Scadables overs or something like that, maybe it's something that we consider kind of pivoting to a first half or first quarter or something like that. Something that we can at least project will get like a full workload, right? Because say they are moving the ball well on the ground, but not well enough to fully keep this game close, they probably end up losing some touches to the running backs later on in the game as they're going to have to throw the ball a decent amount, right? But let's go ahead and move on to Philadelphia's offense and them going up against this New York Giants defense. Actually, one last thing I did want to note that we have in the notes here. This this Philadelphia team, 3rd best red zone TD percentage defensively, going up against the dead last team in the Giants. So even if they do move the ball into the red zone and that field shrinks, it's probably still going to be tough for them to punch them in. But like I said, let's talk about this Philly offense against the Giants defense here. So Giants also do play a lot of man-to-man. In terms of their frequency, they rank just above the Eagles here in terms of 5th in the league. This is good news for Jalen Hurts. His completion percentage jumps up to nearly 77% first man, 32% DVOA, 10.6 EPA. So all things good for Jalen Hurts. He's also coming off of what I would say is his best game as a quarterback of the year, right? Because he threw for, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So yeah, maybe Jalen Hurts rounding into form a little bit as a pass thrower. I don't want to put that too much out there because I think 2 weeks ago, actually, it was like 150 yards, still 2 touchdown passes though. But nonetheless, last week, kind of rounded into form as a pass thrower. So maybe this is a good situation for Jalen Hurts. The problem, and I do think it's going to be a big problem, is going to come with this blitz, right? This is a Giants team that blitzes at the 8th highest frequency in the league, and Hurts' numbers against the blitz drop pretty severely. I mean, 3.5 yards per attempt against pressure, 5.8 against the blitz, completion percentage 57.1 versus pressure, 64.6 against the blitz. His EPA and DVOA advanced metrics go down as well. So if the pressure can get home, if the pressure can kind of make things difficult for Hurts, I do think that it will be pretty damn difficult for him to move the ball. And no quarterback has been blitzed or pressured more than Jalen Hurts so far to start the season overall. So yeah, probably a decent spot for this Giants D-line. That's where they might say, hey, let's try and keep this game close on the defensive end by really taking the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hand. The problem with that mindset and with that thought is, are the Eagles really even going to come into this one saying, hey, let's put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hand? No, it's probably going to come down to the run game, and this Philadelphia run game is kind of yet to hit its stride so far this season, right? 4th worst in terms of yards per carry. They do have the 6th best EPA and 10th best DVOA, so I think that says a lot about the strength of competition that they've gone up against, like some really, really good defenses there. But the Giants' run defense, 4th highest yards per carry, 5.3 to their opponents, 7th highest success rate, 6th highest yards before contact, 5th highest explosive run rate there. And the Eagles do have a good look, I guess, with all things considered, for them to go and run on the ground. And I even looked further into it. This Eagles team likes to run the outside zone. You could make an argument that this Giants team is like the worst team in the entire league against outside zone. They're like number 1 or 2 in all categories in terms of being bad at it. So I think we have a big game from the Eagles on the ground. I think we have a big game from Saquon, who really hasn't had like a monster game yet this season, which leads me into my spread pick. I do think if you can get it inside that 7.5, at 7 or 6.5, I do think the Eagles are worth a look in this spot. Now I know primetime, divisional matchup, they're on the road. Like, I get the spots and sort of the ideology behind that might be too big of a number, but when we just look at these two squads, it looks like we should have a more dominant performance from the Eagles than the Giants. And that isn't saying too much, obviously. The Eagles are just a far better team. So, yeah, I'm going to look at the Eagles here, minus the 6.5 if we can get that. The total sitting at 41.5. I've seen a couple 42s out there, 42.5s. I don't mind the idea of the under for a couple different reasons. First and foremost, I already mentioned how I think both teams, the best parts will come on the ground. If you're running the ball, even if you're picking up first downs and running fairly efficiently, that clock is going to run a little bit more. Secondarily, the idea that this Eagles team is so damn good defensively in the red zone and the Giants stink in the red zone speaks volumes to me. We could have a Giants team eat up a lot of clock, trying to keep the ball out of the offense's hands on the other side, right? Get it into the red zone, and then a halt, screeching break type of a thing. So I do like the idea of maybe even some drives where it looks like they're moving the ball, come up empty. So I'm going to lean towards the under in this spot. I do like it at like 42, 43-ish compared to that 41.5, but who wouldn't? It's a higher number, right? But let's go ahead and dive into the player prop portion of today's video. In the player prop portion, you guys, you're going to see an app called Outlier. It's both for the desktop, for your phone, however you want to use it. My favorite player prop research tool out there. Use the link down in the description as well as the pinned comment. No code needed. Just use that link. You'll get a 7-day free trial to sign up. After that, it's just $19.99 per month. So it's not like this big gotcha moment in which they charge you hundreds of bucks after that trial. No. Less than $20 a month. You can also scan the QR code on your screen right now if that's easier as well. But let's go ahead and jump into player prop number 1. So like I already mentioned, I am really liking all things Saquon in this spot. We'll look at his touchdowns first. The fact that you can get this for him to score a touchdown at minus 149, yes, it's pretty juiced, but still, he's playing his old squad. He's had a touchdown in 2 straight weeks. Now, this season, he has 4 out of the 5 games in which he scored a touchdown. They're going to try and establish this run game, and they need to kind of get back to the dominant force they were last year, and it starts with Saquon. So I do expect him to be able to, maybe take one deep and in a long run, that type of thing, but even if they do get to the 10, 5-yard line, I expect Saquon to get his fair share touches, which obviously, if we look at the red zone rush share attempts, Jalen Hurts is going to carry a big bulk here, but still 50% of those red zone rushes will belong to Saquon, and then it's no one else. A.J. Dillon, 2 red zone rush attempts this year. This is a Giants squad that, in terms of allowing running back touchdowns, ranks 21st in the league, allowing 1 per game. So yeah, I think Saquon punches 1 in. Another spot I'm looking at would be his rushing yards. Now, we were able to see this one earlier at minus 160. Still kind of like this spot for him to rush for 75 yards. Like I mentioned, really have not got things going whatsoever, right? Saquon, 4 games so far in which he's hit the under, only 1 in which he's gone over, and it was that Kansas City game that he went over. He rushed the ball 22 times. Now, I do think that they'll give him a little bit more workload than they saw last week with 6 attempts. But I don't think we're going to see 22 attempts. Like, I expect Saquon right around that 17, 18, or 19 range, which does make a lot of sense because even if we look at his rush attempts, I think it's at 18 and a half right now, right? Yeah, 18 and a half. So we kind of have that pegged in the same exact spot. If this guy rushes the ball 19 times, right, and we're going to see him be able to, carry it 4 yards per carry, we're looking at an over that's 74.5. So I do like the spot here. You want to go a little bit bigger like we already saw, the 83.5 or something like that. Definitely don't mind it. I'd also consider his longest rush. Where's it at? Longest rush right here, 17.5. He's yet to do it this year, but this is a Giants team in which, again, very explosive runs can happen to them. Last time he played them, he had a 55-yard rush in terms of his, rushing yards last time he played them too, 176. We know it. It's his old team, all that. I think that was at the Giants as well. So Saquon is player prop number 1 here. This next one, I'm not sure if people are going to love it or hate it because he's definitely kind of been all over the place, but I am looking at A.J. Brown here. I almost said Antonio Brown. A.J. Brown over 4.5 receptions. 3 of 5 games so far this year, he's hit it. Now, is he getting the target share that I think we'd like to see? It's starting to look that way, but realistically, I mean, it's gotten a lot better than it was to start the year. That 1 reception or 1 target in that Dallas game. Everything else, yeah, he's not really catching the ball that much. Like this one, 9 targets, only 2 receptions, but the volume actually is starting to be there. Now, the reason I'm looking at A.J. Brown, first off, wide receivers, 32nd is where the Giants rank against wide receivers. Why do I like A.J. Brown over, Goddard or Devontae or something like that? A.J. Brown, when blitzed, this Eagles team gets targeted nearly 29% of the time. That is much higher than everyone else. And obviously his target share right there is 27. So when blitzed, he gets targeted. And let's even take a peek at this. In terms of pressure, if we say a team, pressures 15%, yeah, look at that. Last 3 games there. Let's go to last 10 against that, averaging 3.9. If we get into higher pressure, 3.9, 4.3. So A.J. Brown, definitely when this quarterback, Jalen Hurts, is pressured, we start to see a little bit more of an uptick. And that makes sense, right? Devontae Smith, Goddard maybe have a little bit more time for their routes to develop as Goddard's running the dig or the seam. Smith's more of a deep threat. A.J. Brown can be that over the middle slant or something like that. So I do like the idea of A.J. Brown here. Now, one other spot, we can pull it up here, but I don't think we have the line for it yet, would be Scatabo. I have first half touchdowns up, but that's because the only thing that we have access to at the time of recording this. If we can get a Scatabo over in the first half for either attempts or yards or something like that, I do like it. I think that that's going to be the time in which they try to establish it, and I don't know if it's necessarily going to work out all that well for them. That's why I don't love it in the second half, but I do think enough for him to potentially hit a first half over. So again, just due to the idea of the game script more so is why we're taking a peek at Scatabo in the first half. But keep an eye on the final plays for obviously the updated line because we don't have that at our disposal as of right now. All right, another one to note here. Darius Slayton is injured. Obviously, this wide receiver group very thin after Malik Neighbors too, but I don't mind the idea of Wan'Dale Robinson kind of beating man, being able to go out here and get some volume. Philadelphia hasn't been that strong against a wide receiver here. And obviously, I mean, look at what we have his receptions line at, right? 4.5. This is a guy that in terms of his receptions, if they say juice to the over, he's going to catch 5 balls. I mean, he averages 11 yards per reception, so that's 55 yards just using the book's numbers against them in terms of pricing out and kind of like leveling out what we think he could get. So I like Wan'Dale Robinson here. Obviously, like I mentioned already, though, he has definitely kind of struggled in the last few weeks with more pressure on him. Neighbors not taking off the top. It kind of makes a little bit of sense, right? But still, I can't look past it. I like the spot. He had 43 last time he played the Eagles. And obviously that was in a spot in which he had 11 targets, 10 receptions. So very, very low in terms of longest reception and stuff like that. Upside for him there in that game. But I do think we could see it a little bit better here, especially facing a decent amount of man. So guys, just to recap there, those are the plays we're looking at. We'll always add anything in, and we'll let you know why within the final plays if we do add anything. But I like the Eagles to some degree, right? 6.5 maybe. I also like the under. As I say that out loud, maybe this is a nice little opportunity to go some sort of a same game parlay teaser or something like that, where we look at the Eagles maybe -1.5, and the total, we bump that thing up to like 46.5, 47.5, something like that. So that's also a possibility because both of these lines seem fairly efficient. If we could tweak them a little bit, might be all right. In terms of player props, I really do like the idea of Saquon doing something nice for us, right? Whether it's his touchdowns, whether it's his yards. I think it's a big game, big spot for him. I do worry that it's such a public spot because Giants haven't been good on the ground. It's Saquon's old team. They're in, they're at the Giants. Like, I get all that, but still, we could be looking at kind of the get-going game for Saquon here. I like A.J. Brown to catch the ball. The yards we didn't really talk about. I don't mind the yards, but I like the receptions a little bit more. I think that he'll have some really quick plays against the blitz that might not be the most yards per reception, but do count as one reception. And then on the Giants side of things, I like Wan'Dale Robinson, him from the passing catching perspective of yards, but I also really do like Scatabo's first half looks. I think that we could see a nice little jump right off the rip from him. So maybe a first quarter or first half look, depending on what we can get from the odds there and what line we'll see. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's show. If you made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment 18. You pretty much made it 18 minutes into the video. Maybe you did make it 18 minutes into the video. We don't have a timer up, so really do appreciate it. Comment 18 down below. It lets me know that you made it this far. And again, it's probably really simple for you, like, oh, why would I just comment the number? But you're telling me a whole lot more than just commenting a number, right? You're saying that you spent some time here and you watched the videos, heard me out and all that type of thing, and that means the absolute world to me. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's true. But comment 18, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Catch you guys in the next one, right? Peace out.